So we're coming to you live from Animex. My name is Euna Park, gameplay animator for That's No Moon.
Hey everybody, I'm Jack Ebensteiner, lead character animator over at Santa Monica Studio.
Cool. So we are here to talk about animation, I
Yeah, I
guess.
guess so.
So Jack, what was your favorite part about working on God of War Ragnarok, except for the thing that you're going to talk about next?
I would say the thing that I loved the most about working on God of War Ragnarok was getting to help create Garm, which is the giant wolf boss. Um, it was exciting because uh, it was the intent behind it was to be a modern interpretation of the Colossus of Rhodes boss from God of War 2, famously designed by our game director Eric Williams, and expertly animated by James Che, still at the studio, always an inspiration. Um, and I mean, it's a giant wolf, so it was like there's a lot of fun to be had around that. And
What was your main source of inspiration, and what were
yeah,
like the references you used for animating this boss?
well, one of the best ones, truly, was we got to go to this place called the Wolf Connection, which is a preserve north of Pasadena, and they have just a large pack of wolves there, and we got to show up and we learned all about them. They taught us about like the roles that the different wolves play, like how there's one layer of the pack that is there purely for comic relief. It's like they instigate play.
Wait, what?
Well, they
That's
get
awesome.
yeah, they get stressed out, and so they have to have like a little class clown. It was super fun. We shot a bunch of reference. Made sure to get like lots of close up of like the ankles and the toes, which is super important for a boss that is 20 meters or so tall.
And you're mostly seeing their feet.
Yeah. You're mostly looking at feet, and we even got to pet some of the wolves. I got licked in the face, and that is how I discovered that I'm allergic to wolves.
Incredible.
Immediately broke out, hives all over the place, but no regrets. Would do it again. So that was super fun. Obviously, lots and lots of dog reference. I mean, I had one shot where Garm is like out of control, running into the scene and slams into a wall, and so both funny and sad. I watched probably several hours of dogs and cats just like slamming into walls, sliding glass doors, all the classics. And for better or worse, I studied far too many Twilight clips, honestly,
Yes, this is what I was hoping you were getting to.
to get ready for it. But it was great. It was just a really, really good creative challenge. Because it had such a wide variety of work. There were like big bombastic set pieces. There were lots of like little technical challenges. There was even moments of like subtle acting for the wolf, and I appreciated that the boss was. We had this phrase: "The boss is the level is the boss," because the whole premise of the Colossus of Rhodes is that it is a boss that is consistently showing up throughout the level in a series of like vignettes or set pieces, and there's multiple fight sequences throughout, sort of culminating in a big finale. And one of the big ways that we improved on that was that there was a really, really strong narrative through line through the whole thing. And so not only was I getting to do this big creature, I love doing creatures, but I was also always able to think about how I could weave in the relationship between Atreus and Kratos and how they were sort of repairing that throughout the level. So.
Yeah, there were some incredible set pieces where they were just collaborating, and it was really, really fun to play and see and watch you work on.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Can you repeat the question?
What was your favorite thing that you worked on?
Oh, God. I think one of my favorite things to work on were the little wretches, honestly. They were extremely fun. They're just tiny creatures who hate you so much because you're destroying their houses, and they're also, just like from an animation perspective, super gross, super weird. They're just giant little tails with mouths.
Yeah, I mean, internally we called them the Creepers, which honestly I think is a much better name.
Honestly, yeah, I like that name a lot better too, because I say wretches and I'm like, no, they're the creepers. I really, PlayStation, if you're watching, I really still want plushies of them someday because they're super adorable. They're like so cute that they're adorable.
Yes.
And I think plushies of them would sell really well.
I second that. Big
because
missed
I
opportunity.
will buy all of them.
Yeah.
That's the real truth of that. But no, it was really fun to work on them because they're giant tails, they're relatively straightforward to work on, but also the move too, where Kratos actually just like is able to pull one to his hand and then just squish it.
Oh, it's so cathartic. It's so
Super
satisfying.
satisfying because they're so annoying. They're
Yeah.
like little bugs, and then you just get one and you're able to squish it, and then everything around that was so good. I think there's something slightly wrong with me, but those like little moments too that would just give like some visceral satisfaction to the player. Those were like the most fun for me to work on.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna also ask you another question related to Ragnarok. What was one of the most challenging things you've ever worked on as far as Ragnarok goes?
I would also say Garm was the most challenging thing. I mean, even just for the volume of work, because not only were there 2 fight sequences, but there was just all of these vignettes spread throughout the level, all the way from a 5-second little moment with his eye peeking through some bars, all the way up to like a minute-long sequence where Atreus is trying to tame him. So the volume of work was insane. On top of all of the combat, all of the navigation, all of that. So.
What was the weirdest technical challenge that cropped up that you had to deal with when it came to working on Garm?
I would say the chain, because it's a giant wolf, and if that wasn't hard enough, we decided to have him wield a giant chain. Which, by the way, I think the biggest thing that I learned on this project, don't do chains. Don't put chains in your project at all. Like, use ropes, they're just as good. And
what was the hardest part about animating chains?
A big part of it was that it needed to transition between keyframe and simulation and partial simulation back to keyframe. But I feel like I'm droning on a little bit. This is really starting to drag on.
Really?
Yeah.
Did someone say dragon?
Oh,
Hey, Jack, how you doing here?
how's it going, man?
See you. Do you mind if I drag you on back to the other room?